Okay, so this next story is about the time that I broke my wrist. Well, let's talk about broken bones because in elementary school specifically, I broke my wrist twice. Um, Wait, is that right? I might have broken it once and my ankle once. I definitely broke two bones. Okay, yeah. Okay, I broke my ankle and my wrist in elementary school. And I'll go over the wrist one first because it's not nearly as interesting. It's basically just me being an idiot. But in what grade was I in? Probably like fourth, third or fourth, probably. I still had really long hair. When I was a kid, I had really long hair. And as a kid, I used to play basketball on the school team. And so it wasn't at practice, but I was just playing basketball, probably at like recess or something. And fucking around. I had really long hair, so it's all on my face, and I'm dribbling around, running around, playing with my friends, and I fall. And rather than falling like a normal human would and putting my arms out and like catching myself or at least dampening the blow, I do probably the worst thing I can do, and I tuck my arm in. I tuck my wrist, like I curl up my wrist like I'm a T-Rex, and I fall on it. And so I'm basically like hugging the back of my hand against my chest, and I fucking fall on it my whole weight, and I fucking come tumbling down. And I get up, and I can't move my wrist. I'm like, fuck, did I break my hand? Like, did I fucking cut off my hand, basically? And I was a dumb kid. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I had never felt that pain before. It was kind of a numb pain. Like, it wasn't piercing because I couldn't move it, and so I couldn't move the bone around or whatever to make it hurt. And so getting up, I was like, what the fuck happened to me? And sure enough, like it's hurting all the rest of the day. I can't move it. I can't do anything with it. It gets super swollen. And so after school, I go to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I think I hurt my wrist. Like, I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if I broke it, whatever. So we go to the doctor, and they're like, all right, idiot. Let's see. Let's check the damages, right? And so they start looking at my arm, and sure enough, I have a hairline fracture, which I guess technically it wasn't a break. Like, I didn't shatter the bone, but a hairline fracture, means that the bone basically cracked. It didn't break, but it cracked. You know how like on your phone you might have like a little break, but your phone hasn't shattered yet? It was basically like that. And if I didn't treat it, then eventually my bone would shatter. Okay, cool. And I didn't want that, obviously. And so luckily I was able to get my shit in a cast. And in a couple like school photos, I have my hand in like a bright blue cast that I was wearing because my arm got fucked up. Also, another funny thing about that cast, one time I went to the beach. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the beach per se. There was water involved, and so I guess it was the beach. I was there for like an air show. There's an air show in San Diego that like goes across this like harbor or some shit. It's really pretty, but I had a broken arm, and it's like on the coastline, and so it's kind of like a beach party slash fucking plane show. And so I went there, and sure enough, I'm like fucking around in the water for some reason, because I'm a dumb kid, and I'm like holding my cast above water to like not get it wet, because that's like the one thing they tell you not to do is to get it wet. Like when you shower, you're supposed to wrap it in like 3 fucking bags and do all this crazy shit to prevent it from getting wet. And here I am playing in the water with it, right? Not a smart kid. And so as I'm playing, I like a wave hits me, and I like lose my balance, and I fall into the water. Well, I mean, I was already in the water, but I like lose my balance, and to catch myself from like falling fucking face first into the ocean, I put my hand down, and it was the one with the cast, and so my cast is completely soaked. Um, I don't know what the repercussions would have been of that. Like, I don't know if my cast would have gotten all moldy or something, or like all fucking gross or something. I don't know what would have happened if I would have, if it like remained to be wet. But I was probably like 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half away from actually getting the cast off. It was around the time where like I could pretty confidently move around my wrist like within the cast, and it wouldn't hurt, and so it felt fine. And so we get home and my dad's like, well, do we want to cut it off? And so we decided it's probably not a great idea to cut off your own cast, but at the same time it's probably not a good idea to keep a soaked cast on. And we were like debating which one of those would be worse, right? And we end up just cutting it off. We end up taking like little, I don't even know what they're called, but my dad's a construction worker, and so he has a shit ton of tools, and one of them is like, you know, those giant ass scissors that you used to like trim the lawn. It's basically one of those, but it was hand sized. It was the size of normal scissors, but they were made to cut through like thick ass wires or some shit. I don't know what they were for. But anyway, he had one of those, and he just starts like sawing basically, or gnawing at my cast, trying to get it off. But since it's wet, it's not like it doesn't shatter or like it doesn't snap. It just fucking it just sort of like squishes in between because it's like soggy. It's not a hard cast anymore because I fucking soaked it. And so we eventually get it off, and my hand feels fine. And so I don't know whatever happened to that cast, but for the longest time I just had it like in my bedroom, cut in half with all like my friends' signatures on it. And I think I can only assume I went to the doctors for that and like had them make sure my wrist wasn't still broken or whatever. But yeah, it's weird. If you guys have ever like had a cast, it's the weirdest feeling getting it off, because you can now use those muscles that like for the last probably month or two you haven't been able to use. And so it's so weird being able to like feel the weight of your hand again on your wrist. Super weird. And so that was how I broke my wrist. It's and that is sort of a boring story, now that I think about it. But actually, I don't know. Well, I guess you guys will have to decide which one's more interesting. So when I broke my ankle, the way I broke it was a lot more interesting for sure. So my school, Marshall Elementary, had, I don't know like what funded it. Probably some like corporation that wanted publicity or something. I don't fucking know. But they built like, this was my 5th grade year. Fuck me. They built this like a new like play area for us. It wasn't, they didn't like completely redo our ground, because it used to be like fucking old like gravel basically. But there was like a small little area that they like redid, and they planted grass and like little awnings, and it was really nice. And it was on the news, like the local news. And so they had all the like little kids go out onto the field during lunch or what the fuck ever, and stand there and like basically just have the kids stand out there and be appreciative of the fucking new field. And so every kid in the school, basically, at least I assume every kid in the school, was standing out there like running around, being all happy, and the news helicopters flying above, being like, "Oh, look at all these happy kids," you know, blah 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 blah. And then I'm running around being a dumb little kid, and I get tripped. And I don't know why. Like I was cool with pretty much everyone. Like I didn't have any fucking enemies. And so I assumed it was an accident, right? And so I turn around, I roll around because I'm fucking laying on my stomach. So I like turn over it on my back, and I look around like, you know, who did that? Is there someone like running over to apologize to me? Like, what's happening? and I see this chick. Her name's April, and she's looking at me laughing, like fucking hysterical. And I'm like, why would you do that, April? Like, I thought we were cool. Like, why are you over here like trying to assassinate me? And she doesn't say anything. She's just laughing and like looking at me on the ground. Like, and at this point, I'm not even like, I don't even realize I'm in pain because, oh god, I am bad. I don't even realize I'm in pain because I'm over here like fucking mad dog in April. So I'm like, why the fuck would you do that, April? I thought we were cool. Like, you gonna fuck this up for me? And like, this was my time to shine on the big screen, you know. But I'm like on the ground, and I try to get up, and it just feels like I have the worst bruise of my life. Like, my entire ankle's a bruise. It feels like, and so I'm like, fuck, what happened? Like, it felt like what happened when I fucking broke my wrist. And so I go to the I like limp to the office or where my mom's at, and I'm like, hey, I fucked up my leg. It hurts really bad. I don't know what's up, you know. Some bitch tripped me. Didn't say that because I was like 10. But I was like, I think I got tripped. I didn't sell them out because I'm not a fucking rat. But I was like, yeah, I think I got tripped by someone. And then I went to the doctor, and sure enough, they check it, same thing. It's a hairline fracture. However, this time the break was on, or the fracture was on my growth plate, which is apparently like the thing in your joints that grow. Like, those are the things that like expand, that make your body bigger, right? So like, they were basically saying like, if you don't fix this, like if you don't get this fixed, you're gonna be all fucked up for puberty. Like, your one foot is gonna be shorter than the other, or one ankle is gonna be all fucked up. And so luckily, like I said, it was just a fracture and it wasn't like shattered or anything. And so I get it. They don't put a cast on me, but they put a splint, like a heavy duty ass splint, which is basically, if you never had a splint on your foot, I don't know how they do it now, because I haven't broken any bones recently. But when I was a kid, they basically put you in a giant ass boot that looks like it's from the fucking Yeezy collection. Like, this thing is absurd looking. It fucking like goes up to your knee and has two like metal bars that come up from the side of it to keep your leg from bending. It's really weird. But they gave me one of those and like wrapped it up super tight. That way I could like unwrap it and rewrap it or whatever. And so for the next like month, I basically lived in a boot. Like, I never took that boot off unless it was to like take a shower. I guess I would take baths because I couldn't stand up. And like, it was really weird. Like, it's super uncomfortable. Like, the way you had to walk, the bottom of it was like, it was rounded because you couldn't bend your knee very well because they had it barred up. And so the way you would have to walk was like, keep your knee straight and basically imagine you rocking from your heel to your toe, without your foot ever leaving the ground. God damn it. And like, that's how you had to walk. And so super awkward. I had to get used to that. But my school, the way my school was set up is that the top of the school was like administrative and like lower grade classes. Once you hit like third grade, you had to walk down this giant hill every day to go to your classes. That's also where like the library was and shit like that. Really weird layout. But anyway, the only way to get from the top to the bottom was either you walk up and down this gigantic sloped hill. That was a terrible idea for an elementary school. I'll say that now. I had a couple stories about that hill. But anyway, it was either that hill or like a giant set of stairs. And me being in a fucking boot where I couldn't bend my knee, it was honestly more difficult to try to walk up that hill because you're constantly like at a really awkward angle and trying to like keep yourself from falling over. And so that wasn't too comfortable Like, it actually hurt because, like, my knee was getting overextended. Like, every time I would walk, I would have to, like, try to walk up backwards. But that would, like, put too much weight on my foot and it would hurt. And so I was put in crutches and I had to go up the stairs on crutches. And I don't know how many of you have ever tried to attempt that feat. But it's not as hard as it sounds. Like, you basically just put one up, make sure they're planted firmly, and you just jump upstairs. It's pretty easy. But when the stairs are as big as they were, at least proportional to a fucking child, probably like a set of 30 stairs, that I had to go up every goddamn day, up and down every goddamn day, was pretty fucking nerve wracking. But that's basically the story of the boot, the foot. I mean, the way I broke it was a little more interesting, but the whole story of the boot is kind of boring. I mean, I just wore a boot for a fucking month.